Getting Fabian Zetterlund here would be huge. That way I don't gotta spend 40 on him. As long as it's not Zucker, Hartman, or Kraus, we're good. God, let us pray. F you, Palmieri.
The fantasy event has come and gone. One of the best fantasy events we've ever gotten in Hockey Ultimate Team. And the Not a Dollars were able to leave Fantasy Hockey in NHL 25 with 4 total fantasy players. But my God, it came down to the wire. So to recap, we practice what we preach on this channel. I've stated that playing with your favorite players and going after players on your favorite teams is what should be paramount. And Fabian Zetterlund, being the Sharks fantasy hockey representative, obviously meant that I needed to get that card. However, at the time, 40 collectibles on him was a little rough. Now, since the B&D set was available, I wanted to make sure that I could do that, take my shot at Zetterlund and whoever else. That way I didn't potentially waste all of my coins and resources trying to make someone I didn't need to. So I burned a lot of my collection, and I was able to make 16 fantasy hockey collectibles, all to shoot my shot for Fabian Zetterlund. Let's go, man! That's why you do B&D first! Let's go! Now we get to pick. I'm gonna get 40. So after getting my boy Fabian Zetterlund, he went on to score a few goals and is now up to an 85 overall. Talked about this a lot, that Zetterlund is probably the safest card to hit 99. I think that they statted him just way too low. However, he's a very boring card because whatever overall he is, that's basically what the majority of his attributes are. And because skating only goes up by 0.5, at 90 overall, he's probably only gonna have about 87 speed and excel. That being said, absolutely thrilled about getting Zetterlund here because now I got to chase whatever one I wanted to with 40 collectibles. So when I said it came down to the wire, I meant it. With about 45 minutes remaining in the event, I was able to finish wildcard all of the moments to get the extra fantasy collectibles as well as the objectives, and then burned pretty much my entire collection to get 40 more fantasy collectibles, and then we had to make a difficult choice. The problem, dude, here is the problem. Ekholm's good. Oh, dude, this feels exactly like when you like go to cross the border, and no matter what line you take, you 100% of the time take the wrong and longest line. Feels like no matter who I take, I'm gonna make the wrong decision. Let me text Padre. How confident are we Parayko scores another 8 goals? F it. I'm gonna trust my boy. Stu says I take him over Ekholm. I'm gonna do it before I change my mind. Welcome to the team, Colton Parayko. I've made a grave mistake. I 100% know that Ekholm's gonna score in his next game. All right, we did it. And we can upgrade. Dude, the decor is just coming alive here. God, welcome to the team, 85 Jamie Drysdale. Jones or Parayko? Buddy, don't ask me. I just had a panic attack trying to make that decision. I went Parayko. Now, we also got the 86 overall Archangel Artemi Panarin. And my goodness, I haven't seen something like this grip the community in quite some time. The Score 3 top shelf goals might be one of the most unenjoyable things that EA has released in quite some time. But after 7 hours of grinding this moment, I was able to complete it and finish it off to get the 86 overall Artemi Panarin on the squad. Let's go! Bull ass game. Top shelf these nuts. Now, getting Panarin for the team, he instantly became my #1 right-handed winger, and I've really enjoyed using him. I think something that's underrated is his ability to deke left and right, simply because he's got the mid-90s deking, and again, just given the progression in this game, it's definitely noticeable. Steven Stamkos is still my #1 center, along with base Connor McDavid, who remains one of the best cards in the game. My second line features the fantasy Fabian Zetterlund, now at 85 overall, and he's, like I mentioned, already been a pretty impactful card. To go with the Hut Champs Patrick Marleau, who has been great as well, and one of the most underrated cards, in my opinion, that I've used so far is Pierre-Luc Dubois. I don't know what it is about this card, whether it's his size, but he plays faster than his stats indicate, and his shot seemingly goes in more often than it doesn't. He has just been an extremely impactful card for me and one of the bigger surprises. Now, my third line, Wyatt Johnson from the pre-order pack, is still there, along with Rod Brindamore, who should still be the #1 center you go after early on in the game when you first get it, because he's just got such a good face-off rating. He has, again, been
probably my best all-around card since the start of the game. And then I went out and got Mikael Granlund's new wild card. At 85 overall, I'm not gonna lie, looked at this card, wasn't anything special in terms of attributes. His agility is nice at 92 overall, but tape to tape, in my opinion, for 2 ability points is definitely not worth it. But like I've said, use your favorite players. It makes playing the game a lot better. And I've actually had some fun using Mikael Granlund. He feels faster than his stats indicate. I spent about 120,000 on this card. You can get him for about 100 now. But like I mentioned, the fall off isn't nearly as drastic as it was in years past when you go out and get a decent card. So I'm happy that I pulled the trigger. My fourth line features Logan Couture, and because they did unlock that next tier to 84, it's going to be a focus of mine. Logan Couture has been a sneaky good card. If you went with him for the daily hat trick choice, I think you're probably pretty happy. I've got about 15 daily hat trick collectibles, so about 5 away from getting the 84, but I think this change from the upgrade each month, it looks like, is a better one than what they had last year, where you had to basically grind the entire game and you got a 99 in August. Now, on defense is where you're going to see a massive change to the team. Like I mentioned, Colton Parayko was a panic make for me at the last second, and we immediately got rewarded with 2 goals, and now he's tied for the highest rated card in the game. And he has been fantastic. At 6'6", with 86 speed, 85 excel, and 90 agility, he's got a great shot, one of the best defensive awareness and stick checking stats in the game, and great body checking. This has been everything that I've wanted in a card, and he's paired perfectly with the absolute ogre in Zdeno Chara, who again, with truculence, is one of the only cards that can actually knock players off the puck. Again, Chara has been great for me. My second pair is now the Captain Miro Heiskanen with the cover athlete Cale Makar. The one thing I've noticed about Miro Heiskanen is that if I don't have elite edges activated on him, he feels kind of mediocre. And I think that's just with all the other cards progressing. You know, 84 overall isn't very good in the sense of there's a lot of other just as high or higher overall cards to go after in terms of attributes, but elite edges makes him a difference maker. And then my final pair is Caden Gooley and the 85 Jimmy Drysdale. In my opinion, like I said, I would recommend using the XP tokens. They are fully refundable for whatever position that you need. Jimmy Drysdale has been great at 85 overall, but if you end up getting an extra right-handed defenseman, you can go and get Patrick Laine, which is a great change from prior years. The fact that you can just basically pick and choose to fill in whatever position you need because you get all of your XP tokens back. Currently, the biggest upgrade I want to make on the team is going to be upgrading Caden Gooley, who has been one of my best cards this year, but it just so happens that there's essentially a better version of Caden Gooley that was released with the newest event. And that is the 86 overall Jay Bouwmeester. Now, if you watched my off-the-charts rankings video, he was the only S-tier card. For reference, S-tier cards are ones that I think you will regret not making if you are trying to make a competitive team. The fact they gave him 90 speed and 88 excel at 6'4", 206 at this stage of the game with defensive defenseman, as well as gold shutdown, is just kind of crazy to me. But he's a perfect replacement and definitely a card I'm going to target with all of the free collectibles and things that you get from this event. It is a focus of mine to make sure that I get J-Bo before he is out of sets. Now, we also got our first 85 and 86 overall Hut Champs player item featuring the all-star Danny Heatley. Obviously, as a Sharks fan, a card that I definitely wanted to go after. Not to mention, he's actually just a very good card. So this week in Hut Champs, I made sure that I grinded out and got my 10 wins. And my 10-win game ended with a extreme exclamation point. That can't happen, bro. Oh, no. Big 10 wins. Big 10 wins for the kid. So I locked up my 10 wins. Didn't have any more time to keep going, so just accepted the 10 wins. I'll take Danny Heatley, and we'll add him to the team this week. Now, the one thing I do want to mention when it comes to the marketplace is that it does look like we've got pre-fantasy event prices for a lot of the Master Set items. So, for example, during the Cover Athlete event, you could get a Master Set item for around 400,000 coins, and Jay Bouwmeester is going for the exact same amount. Now, because EA gives us a free Master Set item, I would recommend making J-Bo just because no matter what they release in week 2, you won't be upset with having him as your free option. And then if you want to test out some of the other ones, like maybe, let's say, Sidney Crosby, they look like they're going for prices that, again, you don't have to worry about it crashing entirely in a week, and you're going to lose 200,000 coins. So just something I wanted to point out again is it does look like the Master Set items have fallen drastically from the Fantasy Hockey and Supernatural events. And lastly, I want to talk about how you spend your time while playing Hockey Ultimate Team. I think the fantasy event is such a unique one because you have to go all out doing whatever is required to make as many fantasy items as possible. But what's ended up happening because of the lackluster XP path, we're basically forced to get any rewards via the objectives and moments, and it's led to just not being able to play the game the way you want, which is pretty brutal considering that was what the game was marketed to do this year. So for me personally, I'm not really rushing out and doing a lot of the moments or objectives unless I really want the card. For example, Brennan Carlo, he's probably not going to make my team, is a very good card, and for a lot of players, he is going to fit perfectly on your squad. But since he is account bound, I don't know if I really need him, and I don't have a lot of replacement cards that will be needing to fill those spots, like X Factors or power-up icons that I will then trade in. The only one I'm really focusing on is the weekly competitive, and again, it looks like if you do a Hut Champs run and you get to 10 to 14 wins, that's about half, and then I'm playing Rivals the remainder of the way. Again, guys, I think that it's extremely important to just not give in to the fear of missing out that the game has. Only if you really want something from that week, because progression is so slow, you don't have to always grind everything. You're not missing out as much as you were in years past. But that's going to do it for this episode of No Money Spent. In the next episode, we're going to give Danny Heatley a try. Good luck in all of your games this upcoming week.